Hello and welcome back to the third lecture, which is about the sectional views, right? So what are actually sectional views? So when we are going to make the 3D drawings from the drafting, right? So we must put details in the drafting section whenever we need of the section views, right? So just to look at the interior of the objects, right? To see the structure entirely, we must need the section views. As you can see over here, this object, right, and we have the front view, or as well as shown on the top view with certain hidden lines. So if you look at here, so we have just make a section of this part, right, which we call it section AA, right? So if you look at from the side, so we must know we have the sections, right, and you can see the section lines over here. So actually where you see the section lines, actually this is the cutout section, right, where we have cut out this object, right? So we have three ways to show the section views. One is the full section, as you can see over here, right, to just look at throughout the object entirely. We have the next thing, right, this is also a full section because we have not missed out any of the section. We just break out throughout from one side to the next level, and still we can call this as a section AA. We can have the half section, right? Just look at the half portion of any object. Now this is throughout, but then you can see on the left side over here, right, that we have just shown the half side of the object entirely, and we have sectioned them, right? Broken out section, right? So to be used where the interior portion must be shown, but a full or half section cannot be used because the cutting plane would remove some feature that must incline, right? And an irregular black lines is used to limit the extent of the section, right? So we have this type of sections too. And next we have the rotated section. So if you rotate any view, so then you will actually look at the cross section of that object. Otherwise, if you didn't rotate that object at any of the angle, you will not see. We have the remove section. If you remove certain section from any object and then you just place that in a the separate view, that's what actually we call it the remove section. Auxiliary sections, sometimes we have to make the auxiliary views, right? So for that, if for example we have certain inclined objects, so if you look at that object from the top, you will not see it is inclined at certain angle or not, right? So for that we need these auxiliary sections, and we must probably deal with these things, right, whenever we're going on the softwares and we're going to make them over there. So all these things will be clear out there probably. For sectional views, so here we have the drawing practices for sectional views: unnecessary hidden details and visible details, right? So as you can see over here, we have been given some examples. We have section lines, right, and probably we can have different styles of section lines, and the degree in between them most probably always exists as 45, but you can have 15, 30, 60 and 75 as well, right? Parts not sectioned, right? Right, so sometimes we don't need to section parts all the time. Once we recognize that we can just look at the part and we can examine the interior of the structure, what actually it would be from the interiors of the sides. So at that time we don't need to go for the section views.